Welcome to the Coriolis Effect with Cory Oliver.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis Effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode. Hi guys, we wanted to announce that like many podcasters, we just started a Patreon account. Visit our page at patreon.com/the Coriolis Effect. We have 5 different levels of membership and offer early access to episodes, behind-the-scenes footage, bonus episodes, shoutouts, and much more, including personal phone calls, questions and answer sessions, and live chats with Bob and me. That's patreon.com/the Coriolis Effect.
We want to take a minute and talk to you about ExpressVPN. Most people don't know that your internet provider, many websites, and even apps collect all of your data and then sell it to whoever's willing to pay for it. They know what websites you visited, what products you've bought, what products you looked at and did not buy, and some people can even copy your passwords and usernames and then access your private accounts. ExpressVPN encrypts all of your data and sends it from their servers, so no one knows where you are. With ExpressVPN, people may think you're in Bangladesh when you're really in Chicago. They would think you're in South America when you're really in Detroit. ExpressVPN protects you from hackers who try to steal your information, and also from spies who try to use your data for their own nefarious purposes. ExpressVPN also allows you unrestricted access to all parts of the internet. How does it work? ExpressVPN uses the best-in-class encryption. Whenever you are connected to ExpressVPN, every piece of data going in and out of your devices goes through a security crypted tunnel and cannot be seen. Not by the government, not by hackers, not by your internet service provider, not even by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN also employs IP masking. Every device has a unique IP address, which can be traced back to you. When you use ExpressVPN, your connection gets routed through one of their 3,000 plus servers, hiding your real IP address and replacing it with one of their own. This allows you to browse the web truly anonymously. With servers in 94 different countries, you have a wide variety of places you can choose to appear from. ExpressVPN also provides 24/7 customer support with live chat, which means your question will be answered within seconds, not hours or days. It is also one of the easiest apps to use. Just open the app, and with one click, you're protected. It is also physically impossible for any of ExpressVPN's servers to store logs of any customers. And ExpressVPN is a top-rated VPN provider, rated #1 by CNET, The Verge, Wired, TechRadar, and many more. Just go to expressvpn.com/Cory to get 3 extra months free with a 12-month plan. This is a limited-time offer for the Coriolis Effect with Cory Oliver listeners. Again, get 3 months free with a 12-month plan. Go to expressvpn.com/Cory. With ExpressVPN, you can protect all of your digital devices, your computers, your phones, your tablets, everything, and have no more border restrictions. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Cory.
Okay, so good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Cory. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
I'm very excited today. We have our first
gubernatorial candidate.
Yes.
I like saying gubernatorial.
A gubernatorial, yes, we literally do. He is running for governor of California,
Yes.
which I'm very excited about because anyone currently running for the governor of California would be.
And his name?
Sam Gallucci.
Yes.
Gallucci. I wonder if he's Italian.
You think? Gullici?
He's my peeps, you know. Yeah.
Your peeps?
My peeps.
Half your peeps.
Half my peeps.
100% my peeps.
Are you 100% Italian?
100%. Actually, I'm 200% Italian.
You are not.
My father was 100% Italian. My mother was 100% Italian. That makes me 200% Italian.
Oh, Bob.
Actually, so the story about that real quick is my father has like 1/16th Irish or something in him. And I always say I'm 100%. My genius nephew goes, no, Papa has 1/16th. I said, no, Jason, actually it's 1/8. He goes, my dad is 1/8 Irish and 7/8 Italian. Yeah. So out of every 8 sperms, 7 are Italian and 1 is Irish. I was made by one of the Italian sperm.
Yes.
So, and he looks at me, I go, dude, science. You're like a genius. It's science.
Science.
Yeah.
A genia. Yeah. You're a genia. Sure. We've established that. Well, yeah, Sam Gallucci is on the show today, and I'm very excited about him. He's going to be talking about, possibly, his campaign. Right. But yes, thank you so much.
And we are going to ask him questions. It's not going to be a fluff piece. We're going to seriously ask him. You're running for governor. You want the people to know. We want to ask some questions. It's not going to be,
I have a lot of
what
questions.
Color ice cream did you have tonight? Okay, you can be governor. We want to know things about.
We want to talk about solving the homeless crisis,
immigration,
address the wildfires, eliminating power and water shortages, improving children's education,
California's economy.
Election integrity. He's covering all of these, which I really love. He's really, And he wants to talk about, the issues affecting the migrant farmer workers, which I really look forward to diving into that. So
Good.
He's got a website, samgallucci.com, and you can check him out. All of his info's on there, and he just seems like a really great guy. So I'm very excited about this. He's been a resident of California for 60 years.
Wow.
So I think he's
earned it.
Yeah, he's earned it. Absolutely. And I love California. I was born here, and I want to maintain the integrity of its people.
I'm a transplant.
I know. But watching
you meet very few people that were born here.
You do, and I'm one of them. And I've seen, just moving from Northern California to Southern California, it's just changed dramatically in the last 2 years, let alone 10. So I would love to see some change.
Yes.
I'm very excited about today.
Wants to see some change.
But I do have a fun fact that I'd love to know. Do you know when the office of the governor was established? What year?
Wasn't it established when California was made a state?
No. But do you know the year that they turned over from the military as governing?
Oh, from Santa Ana?
Yes.
Or from... Oh, it was 1837.
I love you, Bob. Because what's funny about that is ding, 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 you're wrong. Your buttons don't work. Oh, that's like techno.
No, I didn't load the right patch, and it takes a while.
Yeah. It was 1849.
What did I say?
1837.
I was close.
Yes, you were very close. Actually, you were very close. And I was like, wow, did he do his homework?
I got to tell you, I was an absolute genius before Google.
I know.
Because anytime somebody would ask me a question in
it.
the 80s and 90s, I go, 1837.
Yeah, I almost would have bought that.
Yeah, as long as you just say it with confidence. And then the trick is, when you say like statistics, well, 87% of the people do this. You never give an even number.
No.
Always give an odd, and people believe you. Now, I talk to kids, and I talk to friends of sons of friends, and I say, I go, put the phone down. Don't check my facts.
Oh, yeah.
They all look it up. And
Oh, so do I. But anyway, I wanted to ask you that because you are super smart. That's your next
Off
button.
by 12 years, yeah.
That's your next.
No.
I didn't say your name.
You have to say Bob. Oh, you
know
don't
that.
think I can piece that together?
I do. I know you can.
Bob is super smart.
I know, right? From 16 different shows. So anyway, Sam Gallucci's on today. I'm very excited. He should be here in a minute, and we'll dive into some really serious subjects that are going on right now. And hopefully we can talk about, getting us out of this hole in California.
Yeah. We definitely need some help in the
many areas.
gubernatorial spot.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then we're going to find out why it's governor, but gubernatorial, and why they changed that.
Okay. I look forward to that.
You think Sam has the answer to that?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Okay.
I could look it up.
Google it up? Okay. Well, see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So, Bob, I'm very excited today to try this drink. It is called Brizo.
Brizo, okay.
Yes, and it is a health drink, and it has a lot of natural ingredients. Two of them are apple cider vinegar, which I love, and Manuka honey, which is straight from New Zealand. There's only 3 grams of sugar in this. That is amazing. This one is actually called Berry Beet. This one is pineapple turmeric. Oddly enough, I just put turmeric in my coffee this morning. Yes, I can taste the turmeric in that. These are all really good. I predict this being a big, huge hit. These are fantastic. It's on Amazon. You can get these on Amazon.
And they come in variety packs, or you can buy 1 pack of a single thing, or you can get the 4-pack.
Oh, no, I'm going to go on Amazon and get these. Brizos. These are fantastic. Thank you. Well, they knocked it out of the park on this. Brizo.
It's been a year and a half, so yes.
0 fat, 0 cholesterol, barely any carbohydrates, 3 grams of sugar. It has vitamin D, which is, right now it's big. We should all be taking vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, and vitamin C. Done. I'm getting this. This is a fantastic drink. Thank you.
Glad you like it.
Brizo. 4 different flavors. Berry beet, pineapple turmeric, ginger lemon, and pomegranate hibiscus. Wonderful. Tastes great.
This episode is brought to you in part by Bailbag.org. That's Bailbag.org. Founded by Aaliyah Cruz, former inmate and now a teacher in local juvenile detention centers and state prisons. Bailbag.org provides recently released inmates with a duffel bag filled with essential items to help them rejoin and become a productive member of society. The items include a long-sleeve shirt, undershirt, black pair of pants, Oxford shoes, water-resistant rain jacket, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, toilet brush, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, razors, a full-zip tracksuit, running shoes, all in a large duffel bag, plus a planner or journal equipped with a list of local resources. The recidivism rate of recently released inmates is approximately 65%. With bailbag.org, that rate will drop significantly. Please visit bailbag.org and donate whatever you can to help this worthy cause. And let's start the show.
Yes, let's start the show. I'm very excited to dive into today's guest, Sam Gallucci, Gallucci. He's a true Italian.
I'm a true Italian, 100%.
100% Italian.
200%.
Yes.
200%.
200%.
Mother
There
was
you go.
100%.
Mother and my father were 100%.
That makes you 200%.
That's right. There
Okay,
you go.
well, I'm only half. I'm half
Okay.
Italian, half French.
That makes
but
you
All right.
a mutt.
I know. You're right. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm hitting that. I'm excited about today because you
Thank
are
you,
running
Cory.
for governor
Yes.
of California. Drop the mic on that one, can we? Because
Come
that is
on.
just, we need one.
Thank you. We
We
do.
need a change. We need
Yes,
a
we
change,
do.
I think. And, with all due respect to the current party,
Yeah.
I'm, all about being inclusive. I would really love to just dive into you, who you
Thank you.
are, what your policies and programs are.
Right.
But first, I see my producer staring at me because we have
Giving
a
you
word of
signs
the
off camera, which
day.
is supposed to remain
Word
off
of
air.
the day. Okay.
So every day we do a word. It is a phobia.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you a hint. It relates to the guest. But you have to guess what this phobia. I'm going to play it twice. Spell it.
Oikophobia. Oikophobia.
Oikophobia.
Oikophobia.
O-I-K-O phobia. P-H-O-B-I-A. Oikophobia. The fear of.
The fear of fear.
No,
Ooh, good one, though.
that'd be fearophobia.
What is it?
The guest today. Fear of.
Governing.
Close.
People.
Close. Fear
fear
of
of-
politics.
Politics.
Fear of politics.
Ooh, we don't have that here.
We don't have that here.
We're going to
No.
discuss all politics here today because
Yeah,
I'm
that's
very
right.
excited
That's right.
that California has been my home from
Yeah,
day one.
yeah.
I'm a resident, as you have been
I
for
have
60
been.
years.
60 years, Cory.
You love this great state of ours.
I do.
You have been a participant in all areas of it.
Right.
And you have 9 major items that I'd like to discuss today
Yes.
with you.
And I've got
Wonderful.
6.
And
And he's yet to have another 6.
And if you visit, I'll just say it right now, samgallucci.com, you can see your whole platform
Yes,
and what it is that
thank
you're
you.
doing, which are
And by the
great
way,
things.
for our audience, this is not a fluff piece. I think you're doing a great job, and I'll probably vote for you. But we're going to ask you some serious questions.
Absolutely.
Because
Please do.
We don't want to hear what color ice cream did you have today? And then,
Right.
he's a great guy.
Right.
So
Well-
let's get your platform out there and let's tell the people what you're all about.
Can I say one thing just before we get started? And one of the reasons why this hit me when I watched your videos and was on your site, I was a single mom for 18, 19 years.
Wow.
And you went into, I believe her name was Nikki, and she owns the Canyon Club.
Yes.
And I want to give props to her because
She's amazing.
she's amazing, and she's a small
True
business
California.
owner.
Yeah.
And she employs 48 families.
Right.
And it hit me because I know what it's like to struggle in those moments.
Right.
And now that we've had everything stripped from us, the possibility of that happening again is daunting for someone like her and
Absolutely.
others. I think you
Yes.
had another guy on there as well who
Yes.
owns a dog
Yes.
grooming company.
Right.
And so I appreciate the fact that you care about the small
Thank you.
businesses. Those are the ones that keep us, surviving.
100%, Nikki. 99% of all our businesses are small businesses. And the story begins with just how I really see that God has shaped my life to do this. You don't know how your life will make a difference. And every phase of your life, we have to remember that there's a bigger purpose for each of us. Mm-hmm. And there's no just one thing we're doing. We are destined to love and destined to make a difference. Mm-hmm. And as I look back on everything I've done that leads me to this point, I can truly say that the greatest honor of my life would be to truly make a difference and uniting this state again, because I love the state, I love the people, and I would have never have thought along my journey I would be running for governor. But now I cannot think of any more important thing to do to save the thing that I value the most, which is the dreams that brought my parents to this state, brought my grandparents to this country. I hold my little grandkids and I say, I cannot go to my grave knowing that I can make a difference for them and for your kids and future generations.
And that's what I appreciate, because if what does it say in Jeremiah 29:11? For I
Right.
know the plans I have for
Exactly.
you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not harm you, to give you hope in a future.
And a future.
And if you can do one thing with your voice and your platform
Right.
to secure that future for the generations to come,
Right.
then we've done good.
Then
right?
we've done good.
Well done is what
Well done.
we want to hear God say. Let's just dive into, some of the big issues that we're struggling with in California. And first, we'll talk about, some of the big issues, and we'll talk about the recall, if you want, if you will.
Let's talk about the process first.
Yeah, let's talk about the process of the recall.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, Cory, because people don't understand this process. And the founders of California did something really amazing. They put something in place to right a major wrong. When you get a really corrupt governor in place and the people realize we've made a big mistake, they put this process in place so that you don't have to replace that person with a well-known politician or celebrity. You can truly pick a citizen that you feel can do the best job. And this recall is that. Most people don't understand that. We have a lot of celebrities that have entered into the race, a lot of conservative politicians that entered the race. In fact, there's over 65 people on the ballot at least. And in a general election, you would have to go with the brand name. And we have tried a liberal agenda for so long, and even a lot of my Democrat friends are saying, they've left us. Conservative Democrats have looked at the Democratic Party that's in office and said, wait, that doesn't represent us. Republicans obviously don't think it represents them. And this recall gives us a chance to rise above party and say, who's the best candidate? Not because they're so well known, or not because they're the politician, but who do we really feel is best? And the reason I say that is because the way the recall works, there's two questions. The first, recall Newsom, yes or no. Everybody that votes no, their vote is locked. In other words, they're saying we want Newsom to continue to be our governor. Everybody that votes yes, only those people, they ask the second question, well, who do you want to replace him? So if we get to 50% plus one, yes, recall Newsom. Newsom is out of office, and all those that voted for Newsom, their vote is out. So only the people that vote yes on the recall get to choose the next governor. And that means no longer does the brand name, the big celebrity, the politician matter.
Because they don't have to get more than Newsom.
They don't have to get more than Newsom. None of us have to get more than Newsom. None of us have to get more than Newsom. And so because of that, you now are free, like the Southwest commercial, you're free to roam around the country.
Yeah.
You're free to make the right choice for the right reasons. So often in politics, we have to make, it's between two bad choices. People say that all the time. And which bad choice is better? You don't have to do that in this, which means the person who wins will literally win with 12 to 15% of the 50%, but of the actual vote of the popular vote, maybe 5%. So for that reason, the playing field is level. And this is why I'm so blessed to be on your show, because we can look at the right person.
We can look at the right person. One of the reasons why I did want to do this interview with you is because I did my research about you.
Thank you.
And I believe you care. And I would like to see somebody in office that cares.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that our current administration doesn't, but some of the things that have transpired are suggesting otherwise about the people of this great state. And I'd love to preserve the sanctity of the state of California and all that it embodies.
Yes.
And so for me, that was a big thing with regards to you. I didn't know this, and after diving into your website and seeing more of what you have done, you really do care, and you care about the homeless, and you care about the migrant workers, and you care about the small businesses, and you care about the election integrity.
Yes.
And those are all big items that we need to collectively understand will overall make a difference.
Right.
With the right person in place. And so let's talk about a few of those things. There's a company. You started a nonprofit homeless company. That I was in tears. I was literally in tears because you've spent a lot of your time with the homeless, and we have a big growing problem right now with the homeless.
Yes. So my journey
my question is, and to that homeless, 27% of the homeless in the country live in California.
Well, actually, it's larger than that.
Okay, it's large. So 150,000 people?
Yeah, so we have 160 plus thousand people. It's about half of all the people that declare homelessness live in the state of California. Okay, so we have 17% of the population.
Okay. What can you do in office to make that 140 or 130?
Okay, so this is the platform issue that I really stand above, because I have been involved with homelessness. And I think it's important to start there because the context for this is really important. for 14 years as a pastor, I have cared for the homeless. I have held them in my arms. I've seen them die in my arms. I have helped thousands off the street. I've had guns pointed at my head. I've had knives at my throat because I've rescued women that have been trafficked and their pimps come after me. I know this issue from the inside out, and I've fallen in love with the people. And I think what is so amazing to me is that we have dehumanized the homeless population. We have this principle now in our government of which is called housing first. And then there's this other principle that says treatment first. Well, when you have a population as large as this, 160 plus thousand, since Newsom has been in office, that number has grown by 24%. He has spent $13 billion, and the problem is getting larger. Crime is on the rise. It's not working. We have a mass of people, and the issue, the core thing that needs to be addressed to address the problem is to stop treating homeless less than we treat animals, because that's the issue. I have a book coming out in a week called More Than Animals that really addresses this issue.
More Than Animals.
More Than Animals is the name of the book.
Yeah.
And you'll find it on Amazon. You'll be able to get it in about a week from now. And it chronicles my journey of falling in love with people.
Yeah.
And if we can't fall in love with a person that is homeless, we've forgotten how to fall in love. Mm-hmm. Because at the very core of our humanity is the ability to understand, by the grace of God go I, in any endeavor of life. And I start there. So what I believe is necessary, it's called people first. And I have 5 pillars to the plan to address this because I know it from the inside out. Number 1, we have to stop the bleeding. So the first step, those that are about ready to lose their homes, they're in a home, they're about ready to lose their home. Yes. We have to address that population first. This homeless is growing at 12 to 14% every year, meaning every year, 12 to 14% more people are losing their homes and becoming homeless.
In California?
In California.
Yes.
In California. Stop the bleeding, number 1. Number 2, we have well over 100,000 people living in their cars on the streets. Mm-hmm. We have to have a safe sleep program statewide that really stabilizes that population that are one repair away from losing their car. Mm-hmm. And we've done that successfully. I've done that successfully. This is where you can get the faith-based community of every faith persuasion together. And I've done that. Some of my best friends are rabbis and ministers at Universal Unitarian churches and other churches. And I believe we can come together on this common goal. And I've seen that happen. So that's the second part, the people sleeping in their cars. You stabilize those 2 populations, you stop the bleeding. Mm-hmm. The third pillar then is in these major concentrations in cities, the true stupidity, I'm going to use that word, of thinking that you can build enough homes in downtown LA to address the problem, where it's $500,000 to $750,000 a room, and it takes 3 to 4 years to build. It just shows how disconnected from the problem that this government is, and how unskilled in really understanding it, and it completely separates us from the people that are there. In the last 5 years, the population is close to double. There's now 70,000 on the streets of LA. I was just there a few days ago in Skid Row. I've been there a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. It is appalling.
It is devastating,
It is
to
devastating.
say the least. It is. Yes.
It's a humanitarian crisis, the greatest humanitarian crisis we've ever had in the state of California, one of the worst in the state. So instead of trying to build homes where homes can't be built effectively, where every year there's thousands that die. It takes 3 years to build homes, thousands die. What we need is what I call compassion centers. These are daytime shelters that reestablish the humanity of the person. These are really real people.
Yes.
Let's put the money into something we can get up and running in months, in a couple of months. You get a warehouse, you can get it up and literally in a matter of 2 months. Spend some of that existing money on neutral ground, kind of like it becomes holy ground. Neutral ground becomes holy ground, where the homeless can come. The decency of using a bathroom, oh my word, instead of having to go outside, the decency of a shower
just quickly, I had a friend
Yes.
who owned a business in Malibu called the Artifact Tree for
Yes.
years. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they would come in and be so, so grateful for a toothbrush.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about basic essentials that these people deserve. Yeah.
Because the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. If you or I were homeless, we would so appreciate that.
Yes.
There's something powerful when you activate and respect the person that shifts everything. It shifts the atmosphere. It shifts them. They start thinking differently. This is what I did at the church for 7 years when I had a daytime church ministry called Operation Embrace, and that's what we learned by just following this model, this biblical model of treating people like you'd want to be treated.
Well, it says, whatever you do not do for me, you do not do for the least of me.
Exactly.
Jump in there for a second, because you said you wanted to stabilize the situation for the people about to become homeless.
Right.
And then also the people living in their car.
Yeah.
How do you what do you actually do to stabilize that? Do you
So
put a
what I would
moratorium
do,
on rents? Do you pay the rent for them?
No. What I would do, so the people about ready to lose their job, I would kill two birds with one stone. We have 99% of our small businesses that are suffering greatly, and they can't get employees back to work. Unemployment is just too rich. That's why would I go back to work when I make more money on unemployment? So in office, first thing I would do is I would get everybody that's on unemployment 30 days notice, and that unemployment check coming from the state would become a voucher, a work voucher. And they go to any small business and they get a job, that work voucher will be given to the employer to pay the employee. It helps the small business and it gets people back to work. We have the highest unemployment in the country.
You. What's the incentive to somebody to say, take the money I get for sitting on my couch and give it to my employer? Well, I get the same amount of money, but now I have to work.
Right. That's the incentive. Either they get money or they don't. So in other words, it becomes a voucher. Okay. So if they don't, then they're not going to get any money.
I got it. Okay. So they get nothing sitting on their couch.
That's
a great idea.
They get nothing sitting on their couch. It's the same money. Now they get back to work. The small businesses help, which we desperately need to help them.
Oh, yes.
We need to help Nikki, and we need to help these small businesses. And
I'm assuming there's a time period of when that ends in the business. Okay, now he's your employee.
Now it's your employee. Right, exactly. So that same work voucher, everybody that's about to lose their home, and people that are sleeping in their car, you set up a case management structure. Again, we've got $4 billion set aside for homelessness. You can, within the existing budget, you can use some of those dollars much more effectively and work with them to assess the kinds of skills that they need. What jobs placement and place them into jobs using those same work vouchers.
Okay, so that's a genius idea. Nobody's thought of that before?
Nobody's thought of that.
It is a genius idea, but let me just switch over to it biblically for 1 second.
Right.
The Bible says, put your hand to the plow and God will do the rest. And with that comes a sense of purpose, and you feel better about yourself. You don't feel great sitting on the couch accepting a check for, you don't feel that good. So if you get up and you have a purpose, people will be happier. There'll be less depression. There'll be less suicide rate. There'll just be a lot less of these things will go down.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's how you do it in those two populations. With people in their cars, you awaken the faith community, every faith tradition. And I can tell you the one thing that all faiths have in common is caring for the poor.
Yeah.
They all feel a call to that. The Christian community, big time, the Jewish community, the Universalists, all of the faiths, the Buddhists, the Hindus, they all feel a call to that. And many of these churches have large parking lots. We've done this in parking lots successfully. You set up porta potties, security, and then you set up a number of spaces and you let them park there safely. While they're parking there safely at night, you then work with them. You have case management for each person that's there safely. We have tens of thousands of churches in the state, more than enough real estate for the faith community to engage these people.
It's like an RV park.
It's like RV parks.
Right.
But instead of them parking in secretly parking, getting kicked out, parking somewhere where the van breaks down and now they're stuck on the side of a road and everybody kicks them to the curb.
Right.
You now create an environment of hope for these people. and you work with them to get them back into society.
And you make it less shameful.
And you make it less shameful for them. Yeah.
If there's $4 billion in, set aside for the homeless, why are we not tapping into that right now to implement some of these structures?
Because we don't have people that understand the process. And that's what I'm saying is that's what sets me apart. They don't understand. And they focus on housing first. And then the other traditional thing that you hear from politicians is treatment first. Both of those are important. They just can't be first. To solve the problem. You have to stop the bleeding, and you stabilize these two populations. The Safe Sleep program is an existing program. It works extremely well. It needs to be backed by the state, and some of this money needs to go to flourish it. And imagine when you awaken the faith community to get involved. The natural blessing when people become first is people connect with people.
They rally. That's what we do. We
rally around hope. You're giving these people hope, and you're giving an avenue for people that want to give hope, a way to give hope. So everybody is blessed. The third thing are these compassion centers. You have to stop the bleeding in these homeless communities. So you've got 70,000 people downtown LA. You've got 15 to 20,000 downtown San Francisco. Every major population has these concentrations. In these concentrations, you've got drug lords, you've got cartels now pumping in fentanyl laced and in the crystal meth, and they're getting them sick and they're getting them so addicted. So to try to take them from that into a home is absurdity, and it doesn't work because it's like taking them into a prison. And
I think most of the politicians today just say they don't have a home. Let's build them a home.
Let's get them in a home.
And that's not the problem.
That's not the problem. First,
the not having a home is a symptom.
Is a symptom of a bigger problem.
Right.
Yes. So these compassion centers neutralize. They create safe spaces. You reestablish dignity of the individual with a shower, with a bathroom to do their laundry, 2 hot meals, and you activate their humanity and you give them respect, and they respond. Why do I say that? Because we would respond. It's no different. It's just like real life. In that center, the beauty is you tap into an enormous millions of people that have the compassion that want to do this work, and you befriend the homeless, and you find out their story.
Oh, and they all have
a story. There is a myth that says they're all rapists, criminals, vagrants, and that they love being homeless, that they don't want help.
Or they choose to be homeless.
Well, if you've had extreme mental illness for years, then that's the only choice you know. So people mistake the only choice they know with the fact that they woke up one day and say, I know what I want to do with my life. I want to be homeless the rest of my life. I'm being facetious, but that's the way people think.
Well, there was a video that circulated about 5 years ago, and it was a homeless man, and they cleaned him up, and they put a piano out on the street. I don't know if you saw that video.
I did.
And it just blew my mind because he sat down at this piano, and he was a concert pianist.
Oh, I have story after story like that.
I know. And some of these people are doctors and lawyers and their fathers and
pastors
daughters.
And just people that are broken. So at these centers, you vet the population. You've got recently homeless, moderately homeless, and chronically homeless. The recently homeless, you can get off the streets in 6 months by stabilizing them. Use the same vouchers, use the work programs, relocate them back to their city of origin with stability. Those that are moderately homeless, that's where you provide treatment in the moment. And that moderately homeless with treatment in these centers can provide the stability they need. Then in these compassion centers, you have compassion fairs. You align all of the service providers, and they come with a table in these compassion centers, and the homeless can come to them and can assess the different services that are available. This is how you do that smartly. The fourth pillar is if you build it, they will come. You need to find locations to move them smartly, where you can build the kinds of housing that makes a difference. And what I'm proposing is I'm calling on 12 cities that are struggling financially, that have hundreds of thousands of acres in their cities, to create master planned compassion communities. These master planned communities will be all the homeless services by right. You don't need conditional use permits. and much more lenient building codes, because we can build a house for a couple $1,000s, not $750,000.
Right.
And
you get prefab houses.
You have prefab houses, containers, sprung structures, all kinds of houses.
There's a lot available.
A lot available, really inexpensive. Problem is the zoning, the code, the neighbors, not in my backyard. All of this is working against us, and I have the scars to see it. So these master plan communities truly become communities where there's grocery stores and there's all the facilities. Build entire cities. We have 160,000 people. We need cities to accommodate these people.
You could get grocery stores to sponsor a city, knowing that they're going to be the grocery store in that city.
In that city, exactly. So by putting these in place, now you have places to send the homeless, where the infrastructure is put in place, the plumbing is put in place, community centers are put in place for this population, and all of the service providers will bid. They'll raise the money, and they'll bid to put their resources there, and you can build the homes at a fraction of the cost. I cannot tell you how much money is lining the pockets of these developers at the sake. Poverty is becoming the new profit center.
Yeah.
And then the fifth thing that we need to do is we need to have an aggressive move to get rid of all the crime and drug trafficking and make those neighborhoods where the homeless are safe. That's the way you address this, and that will solve the problem.
I'm sorry, Cory. That's segueing to the topic of crime. We all hear the stories about you can walk into the store, grab under $1,000, walk out of the store, and I get that it's a county thing, it's a city thing, and as a governor, you only have so much control. But I went to the Vons. I heard it on the news that 2 people, when they walked out of Marshall's, they literally walked out.
Right.
And I was in Vons. I was 100 miles away. And as I was paying, I said to her, I said, "What do you do if I just decide to take all of my car and just walk out?" She said, "We're told not to chase you and just let you go."
Yeah.
So how do we solve that problem? Where the stores are now saying, "I'm shutting down."
So this is part of a bigger issue. And when you look at, one of the reasons why I got in this race was I was so tired of the politicians that have
lip service
about everything. And here is the result of that. There's such a lack of hope in California. People are just hopeless. There's a blanket of hopelessness. And they've been violated. Their trust has been violated. Whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent, you feel violated. It's like, I voted for all these laws to protect me. I voted to pay more taxes, to fix things, and none of that is happening. And now you're going after my children in a way that is so appalling. And you're doing that behind my back. And this is a perfect example that it's to me, it's immoral to say, to pass laws that say, you're a criminal. If you rob me and it's under $1,000, it's no longer a felony. So go ahead and rob away. Basically what they're saying.
And they're not charging the misdemeanors.
And they're not charging the misdemeanors. Newsom is of 70,000 felons that have been taken out of prison since he's been in office. 91% of all people in prison have significant felony charges. These aren't misdemeanor charges. And they're not serving out their terms. $11 billion last year has been given to them in unemployment fraud. And crime is on the rise significantly. And the issue here for me is it's not just fiscal leadership and social leadership. We need moral leadership.
Yes.
And it foundationally, that's what got me in this race, because everything I've done, I just did not because I wanted to be in politics. I never thought of politics, just because I care for people and I love my state. I've been here 60 years. I have lived the California dream. I want to do this for my grandkids, for you, for all of us. And I really feel right now the moral issue, morality is things like you do what you say and you say what you do. You're trustworthy. You're transparent. You put the needs. You do the right thing. You put the needs of the people above your own needs. That has completely been lost with this government.
Yes.
Not just the governor, but the supermajority of I would call them extreme liberal positions in the Democratic Party. That have even the conservative Democrats are even saying, why are you spending your time on these laws when our businesses are shuttered and our taxes are too high and our kids can't get a good education?
The cities are falling apart. There's
The
no
cities,
question.
yes.
You can drive through them and see all of the commercial real estate that is empty.
Right.
You know, which it's a domino effect.
It's a domino effect.
It is, and we need someone like you to
Thank
come
you.
in
How do
and.
we fix it? So let me tell you how we fix it. First of all, it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need right now as a leader? So I'm going to be bold and say this because I believe this. Now, I don't know that people completely know my background, but I've been here 60 years. I've been pioneering the tech space. 1981, before internet, before Microsoft, before Apple, I entered and was one of the pioneers in an industry called customer relationship management. Grew to the top of the food chain, ran a major multinational company, lived in Marin County, grew up in LA, went to school in San Diego.
Been my neighbor for all these years. I was
In Marin
up
County.
north too.
Yeah.
San Ramon.
So, yeah. And I was in Novato. And then I left that to focus on my family and got into social causes, became a pastor. All that to say, and so thank you. I have the gamut of experiences. All that to say, right now, California doesn't need another politician, and California doesn't need another celebrity. California needs a pastor.
Yeah.
That's what it needs. A shepherd.
Yeah, a shepherd.
A shepherd.
Somebody who actually cares.
Cares.
And
A
it's not
servant
about the
leader.
politics.
It's not about the politics. And, that's a bold statement to say. People say, well, what's a pastor? I mean, people have different views of pastors. But when I say that, somebody to really care for the people again, somebody to shepherd us. It starts with that to solve the problem. The second part of solving this problem is addressing the elephant in the room. And when I speak to people, this is the thing that drives me crazy. We have all of these candidates running for office, right? And a lot of good people. God bless them all. And all of them are needed to get us to 50% plus one recall Newsom. That's the key landmark. But then at that point, understanding how to solve the problem is you have to start with the foundation. And so the thing that drives me crazy is all of the folks that are on the platform, we're talking about how they're going to solve this and how they're going to solve that. When the root issue is broken, you have to solve the foundation to be able to do that. And here's what I mean.
Otherwise it collapses.
Otherwise it collapses.
Yeah.
Right. And right now, the roots, the foundation is broken. Number one, we can't get a conservative message out. There's no communication channel. You've been shut down. Your podcast has been shut down. So many people that I know that have a conservative message, they say the wrong name or the wrong word, and you're shut down. We have a communication problem. We have to fix that. Whoever wins this recall is in office for 1 year. And that's why to me, it's so disingenuous to talk about all your plans when what this is really is God allowing a conservative to run for governor from the governor's office in 2022, where we haven't gotten a conservative in office in over 20 years. We haven't been able to get above 39% in 20 years. And to get to 51%, you need a radically different strategy. And talking about all the things you can change, when none of them you can change, when you have a supermajority of extreme liberals that will do everything in their power, if it doesn't have a D behind them to stop you, they have so much power they can override the veto of the governor. So, and you got to turn around and run again. These are the things that no one's talking about. Right. So I'm talking about them because I genuinely care. So what we need to do to fix that and many problems is, number one, we have to restore the voice of the people. I will set up a communication channel. Amen, right?
Yes.
We need our voice back.
Yes.
And I will not assume that you're going to trust me just because I say so. I've got to earn that trust. And I think whoever wins, there's been so much wounds, even in best intention, they don't just automatically trust. You've got to earn that right. Mm-hmm. So, and you got to run for a 4-year term. The first thing is you got to restore trust. To restore trust, you have to give people their voice back. California's been ignored. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I'll do is create a radically new strategy. I'm a pioneer, I'm an innovator, I'm an entrepreneur, a radically new strategy to communicate to the state. We need to communicate our values. California values, not Republican values, not Democrat values, California values.
Exactly. which has done well up until now.
Right.
I mean, it's
is this a
rapidly
new social
declining.
media platform? Is it a new
Yes,
texting platform?
So what I'll probably do, really simplified version, set up a high quality production, and every week I will be on a broadcast doing a fireside chat, speaking truth. I will communicate the truth about what's really going on in Sacramento. These bills, most people aren't aware of the bill that you just mentioned about lowering the felon. Here's another bill that got passed. If the age between an adult and a child is only 10 years and it's sex, it's no longer a sex offender. So if an 18-year-old has sex with an 8-year-old, it's no longer a sex offender crime.
What is it?
It's just considered a crime, and if
It's not statutory rape anymore.
It's not statutory rape anymore, and it's up to the judge to determine whether it is or not. It's not an automatic statutory
That's the
rape.
whole purpose of statutory is there's no defense.
There's no defense. That's the law. So this and hundreds of laws like this are on the books, and most Californians aren't aware of it.
It's because we've been distracted.
We've been distracted, deceived.
Yes.
I will bring all these laws to light. I will speak the truth. We're going to have a truth campaign, and where there's truth, trust is restored.
Yes.
Truth and trust are hand in hand.
Yes.
If you don't tell me the truth, I can't trust you. Do you live the truth? I won't trust you. So I will restore trust again and communicate and here's how I'll use all the other social media platforms. This is a beautiful part about this. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the media outlets. The only thing I'm going to do on this is advertise where to find me. That's it. You can't shut down an ad.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything controversial. I'm going to say, hear from Governor Gallucci, go here. And I'm going to drive, and then we're going to use all those social media platforms, and I'm going to have people like you and Nikki on the air, and every single day we're going to broadcast truth, and everyday Californians are going to be on that, and we're going to hear their stories. We have forgotten who we are as Californians.
I know.
I am going to remind us of the greatness of this incredible DNA that's uniquely a Californian American.
And to that point, I'm from the up north,
Yes.
outside of San Francisco, and I moved down here when I was many years ago to pursue a dream
Yes.
in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And it was thriving, and there were hundreds, if not thousands, of
Right.
people moving in a month, right, to
Right.
Los Angeles. And currently, right now, this current administration, with all due respect, there are thousands moving out.
More moving out than moving in.
Than moving
We've
in.
lost a seat. The population has gone down.
Yes.
Over 150,000 more have left.
The entertainment industry alone is being dismantled.
That's right.
in
they're all
Los
filming out of
Angeles.
California.
They're all
There's-
filming out of
there's no
California.
tax credits anymore.
Right.
That's right.
There's
And
no
s-
incentive to film in California.
Right.
That's exactly right. The studios are collapsing. They're all
That's
going
right.
to these, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, etc. But it doesn't mean we can't continue to restore California. It's a great state
Exactly.
and has great qualities. So another one of the things I wanted to talk about, because we've still got time, and this is a biggie, and this
Yes.
is not just California, but one of your platforms on your site is the election integrity.
Yes.
And we've all struggled with that. We are inundated with propaganda suggesting that then we don't know what to believe, and
Right.
everyone's texting
Everyone's all over the
videos all
place.
day long.
Right.
And so I love the fact that you want to approach this
That's right.
subject, but that you yourself have integrity in the things that you have done.
Exactly. Thank you.
And you live that life.
Yes.
And so I appreciate that about you.
Thank
and I
you.
don't think that you can put somebody without integrity in office
Thank
and
you,
expect
Cory.
them to be
Right?
a man of
Yes.
integrity.
So this is the second thing. I'm going to restore people's voice and their trust. The second thing is restore confidence in the vote. There's two people that the majority of people are in two camps. Either they feel their vote doesn't matter. It's not that it's rigged. It just doesn't matter. I vote for these things and nothing changes. Yes. And I think most independents feel that way. And then you have a lot of Republicans and some Democrats that feel the vote is rigged. They just lose confidence in the whole process. So here is what I know and what I will do. That first year in office, through executive order, I'm going to declare Californians are concerned about the integrity of the vote. So I'm going to do two things immediately that I can do in that first year. Through executive order, I'm going to demand that every county cleans up their voter rolls. We've had millions leave the state, and the voter rolls aren't reflecting that. And I'll have a team that works for me that makes sure they do. We're going to clean up all those voter rolls and all the people that have left the state. I have story after story of friends that have left the state that still get ballots.
Yes.
And
To their new addresses?
Yes.
to their new addresses, their
Because the
California
mail
ballots.
forwarded?
The ballot is forwarded.
Okay.
And so now they have a ballot to vote in California, but they're Nevada residents.
I lived in my home for 6 years, and I've had 3 different ballots sent to me
right?
from the last voting.
So
Is there a way for the state to coordinate with the federal government in terms of the mail to say if somebody changes their address, moves out of state, that information goes to the state?
there absolutely is, and it's called cleaning up the voter rolls.
Yes.
That's what that
So
process
California
is.
can have access to the mail states and say, okay, if I put a change of address in, California can access that?
California can get access to that, correct? And the problem right now is they can get access to what they need, is what I'm saying, to clean up the voter rolls. They absolutely can, and they're not doing it. And so, as some counties are, most counties aren't. So that's the first thing I'll do. I have a year to do that. I will have a team, and I'll have a voice of the people to remind them how their county is doing. And if their county is lagging, then I will let the people know and let the people put the pressure on. That's a reasonable thing,
But okay, so
right? That's a reasonable thing to clean up those voter rolls.
if I'm an election minister in a county that I'm a Democrat and I
Right.
want Democrats to win, and I say, I got 10 million people in a million people in this roll that's out, I don't care. I'd rather have them vote.
Exactly.
What's the punishment to me if I don't? What's the harm if I don't clean up the roll?
Well, that's the problem, is there isn't.
Right.
But the harm is the people.
No, I get that, but to
And-
me, I'm going to win the election because that's what I
there's
want.
no
So-
motivation.
Right.
That's why you need somebody at the top. We're trying to do this from the bottom up. That's why you need a leader at the top that cares for the people
Right.
more than they care for about the politics. Because you're right, there's not that great of a motivation. Everybody's looking the other way. And that's why I'm saying this. And I don't hear any of the candidates talking about this, but we got to give my whole platform is give California back to the people.
Yes.
That's it. And rise above party to what we have in common as Californians. I'm going to do that. The second thing I will do is through executive order, because there's so much concern over these voting machines, I will say for the 2022 election, we're shutting down and we're going to do a hand count. A hand count is the best way to count. It's been used for generations. It's used in Germany, a population of 70 million people.
Doing it for years,
Doing
right?
it for years. We can do it. These 2 things alone will give people confidence again.
Yes, that's what we need.
That's what we need, you know, and that's just the beginning. In a 4-year term, there's much more we need to do to clean up voter integrity. We have jungle primaries, which is a rigged system. The 2 top vote getters in the primary go on the general ballot. That's why you don't see Republicans and independents and libertarians on a lot of these ballots. All you see is Democrats, because if the total population of voters is larger for the 2 top Democrat candidates, just the total vote, than the Republican candidate, those 2 top Democrats are on the ballot. That is
Really?
that's the way it works.
Governor, so you wouldn't even
No,
have
not for governor, but for all the
for
down
everybody
tickets.
else. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that for all the senators, all the assembly people,
They get a choice between 2 Democrats.
yeah, that's it. They don't even have a Republican on the ticket.
Really?
Really. The jungle primary's got to go.
Can the governor change that?
The governor can't, but
sorry.
you need to break the supermajority.
Right.
And that's why in that first year, I'm going to awaken Californians and show them these things so they start voting for alternatives to one voice, and then it's an extreme voice.
But by the way, that's what I wanted to touch on right now quickly, and I said this in the beginning, and that's one of the reasons why, sorry, I'm pounding the table, why, this is how passionate I am about
Yes,
this
I know,
subject.
me too.
Off camera that wasn't supposed to go on camera.
It's the reason why I started this, Bob and I started this show, I've talked about it a million times, is to unite people. That's the whole
Yes.
reason for the Coriolis effect, to have the right and the left come together and stay united and be
Yes.
united. And that was your platform. That's
That
the
is
number
my
one thing on
platform.
your platform that,
Yes.
that drew me
Thank
in
you.
was because you're not singling out Republicans or
No.
singling out Democrats or singling out the unbelievers or non-believers. You have compassion and you have integrity and you are inclusive. And I've
Yes.
always told my daughter,
Thank
she
you.
went to Oaks Christian, she's a Christian, but I've always told her, be inclusive.
Yes.
You
We
don't
have to be.
know whose life you might affect.
Affect or touch.
Or touch. And so having somebody, govern this great state of ours that is answering to God
Thank you.
about a conscience,
Yes.
and it speaks volumes to me personally. And I don't know, I'm not speaking for the rest of the state, but for me, having somebody that's answering to him
Thank
and
you.
not other politicians and other, people, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Cory.
I appreciate that about you. I know there's so much to talk about.
You have another question?
Well, I want to make sure we cover all of this because I know that those aren't the only two things that you are passionate about. You want to eliminate power and water shortages.
Yes.
You want to improve children's education. I have a 22-year-old who's currently on her last year at a California university, and there's some things being implemented and pushed on her that she doesn't necessarily want, but that's a whole other story.
So education is a big one.
Yes.
You want to
it's
talk
a
about
huge one. It's huge.
But before we get to education, let me ask you one question, because this will literally determine whether I vote for you or not. Do you agree that
No
whatever
pressure.
rule you make, you will follow?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you...
There's 100%. There's, that's been my life.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
I
got
could
to
have
tell
answered
you.
that for you.
I got to tell you
because
that
right now it's not happening.
Well, it's not happening at all. And my, especially the second half of my life, the last 20 years especially, 21 years now, everything I've done was for others. And I've lived among the homeless. I've buried homeless. We've given our fortune away. We don't have the money we used to have, asking nothing in return. And I think that's why it so blesses me when you say that, because it's what I hope more than anything people look for is the character of the individual and what they've actually done.
Martin
Because
Luther King said that,
Martin Luther King. I can't even imagine leadership is that. I lead a church. I lead a nonprofit. I work with undocumented migrants. It's like, who does a Republican do that? And I've fallen in love with the Hispanic people. By the way, that's part of awakening the sleeping giant. They're an amazing people. And so that is, I can't even imagine that, but it's so good that you asked that, because that is it. That is at the heart.
If you make a rule that says you can't have a gun, but my security staff can have a gun.
I'm here for the people. And let me tell you what else I'll do. For the people of the state, that first year in office, our values have been violated as Californians in several laws that have been passed. And this is what also sets me apart. These are things I talk about. I'm not hearing other candidates.
You're speaking my language right now because you're right.
So all of these illegal, unconstitutional laws that violate the rights of California American parents, I will do this. I will sign executive order that says the following laws that are on the books by the state of California violate the constitutional rights of the citizens. Therefore, I'm putting a stop to all of them. And
let the courts decide.
And let the courts decide. Now, what that will do is all hell will break loose. It'll take a lot of these immoral, unconstitutional, absolutely violation of our illegal rights, violating our rights as parents, as individuals, and it'll drive them up into the courts, and we will fix it that way. That's the only way you can fix it. And that's how you earn the trust, and that's how you demonstrate to the people, because trust has been so broken.
So broken.
Just to flip a switch and say, here I am to save the day, because now I'm a Republican, I'm in office, is ridiculous. It's disingenuous, and it doesn't really touch the heart. People need hope, and it needed demonstrated. That's what I'll do in that. That's what I'll do in that first year.
The promise that you will abide by any rule that you set down gets you my vote, because I haven't seen anybody do that yet, nationally or locally.
Right. So. And I think a lot of guys, if you ask them that are running, would say that, right? But so for me is have you demonstrated that? Tell me how you've demonstrated that. That's, it's about what you do, not just what you say, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, especially within the last year and a half, this, we can talk about this, right? About this.
Talk about anything you want.
This whole pandemic has been, we've had several people on the show that have talked about it and written books about it. And, and it's, people are struggling mentally, physically, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. They are broken. And, you used to have hope for the future. You used to be able to say, I'm going to save, I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to do this, but we're really regressing and going backwards. Right. And so you give me hope sitting here today in knowing that somebody actually is taking a look at the fundamental problems that are happening currently in this last year and a half, right? And you're willing to step up and say, I'm going to make an executive order to change that.
Right.
You have my vote.
Thank you.
honestly. Like that's huge because that's where it starts.
It starts
Otherwise,
there.
we're going to continue and perpetuate in this weird...
And you're going to replace Newsom with someone else that doesn't really understand the people.
Right.
Where we talk about issues when, and there are a lot of issues, and you see on my website, we have all these issues, but the problem is the foundation. It's the people. It's the people. It's always been the people. It always will be the people.
Well, you must really care to want to dive into this pool because you know I can imagine what that conversation was with your wife. Honey, we're gonna
oh my gosh,
we're gonna run for governor. We're gonna move to Sacramento, but you know what? It sounds like she is just like you.
She's
and
amazing.
An amazing woman, and
she is. And my best friend, my partner for life, 40 years this year, August.
Congratulations!
The end of August. And it's about the people, and that's what this election really is. And it drives me crazy. Every candidate, I'm going to do this, I'm going to solve this, I'm going to solve that. But the foundational issues, unless you rebuild the foundation, you can't get a 4-year term. And unless you get a 4-year term, you can't do much of anything. Trust, voice, vote, and restoring the values, demonstrating California values. And all you really have is the executive order. That's the only real power you have when you're governor in that 1 year. And you have to restore trust and transparency to the Californians so they have hope again. Hope breathes life. Hope breathes creativity. Hope breathes the gold back into the Golden State. And I believe deeply in the California spirit. When I say we've lost our soul, we've lost the greatness of what makes us great as a state.
Well, hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people with broken hearts right now that feel sick about the future and not being able to provide for their families and where this is headed. And so we have how long until this recall? Tell us the dates on this. So people
the recall
who are listening.
Election, yes, this is really important. But everybody's getting a ballot. And what I want to encourage everybody to consider, don't vote for the politician you think can win because of the brand. Don't vote for the celebrity you think can win because of their brand. This is not that. This is the framer saying you get to vote for a fellow citizen that you feel truly I can trust and truly will represent me. Because that's the whole point.
I think those two things are great, but one of the things that stuck out for me in this interview is that you'll stay connected to the people and
100%.
by your fireside.
Yes.
Those are the things that it's like a resounding, hey, if you can stay connected to somebody, that means that you still have a voice with them.
Exactly.
If you can't and it's cut off, then you're not heard.
You're not heard.
Whether it's an email, whether it's for your assistance, whatever you have in place, at least people can continue to share their concerns with you.
Yes.
And give you ideas, because it sounds like you implement a lot.
100%.
You've been in a position of authority your whole life.
Right.
And you're able to delegate things appropriately.
This is the thing. It's leadership. You need to have the kind of leadership to run the 6th largest economy in the world.
Yes.
And we have lacked leadership.
Yeah.
And we've got some great people running, celebrity talk show hosts and historians and politicians that have been in the House of Representatives, a lot of people, wonderful people, and yet it's leadership. And for me, leadership is paramount. It's surrounding yourself with people smarter than you, and releasing them to do the things that they do best.
Yes.
And that's what I will do. And the entrepreneurship that is uniquely California. Look, California, the businesses that have birthed here have changed the world, literally. And that's who we are. And every one of the solutions for the water, for the power, for election integrity, for prison reform, for education.
Wildfires, you've got a program for that as well.
Homelessness, immigration. We're going to solve them in a way that will help the world solve them. We're not just going to fix California. We're going to go back to the DNA of solving problems in a way that changes the world.
We're
an world
example.
Changers.
Yeah.
We're going to be example, and we're world changers. And every young person here, the lie that says, I can't afford it, you got to move out of the state, I reject that, and I'm saying to them, we're going to empower you to be the next major entrepreneur, and our incomes will be higher. It'll be double than any place in the country, because I'm going to release that pioneering spirit, the spirit that I had the privilege of understanding and being a part of of creating something from nothing. And that's what our youth can ascribe to. You can be anything in California. You truly can.
Yeah.
That's who we really are. I want to bring that back.
Where do I? You got my vote.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm just, for me, it's been all the things that you touched on. I'm like, I'm going to cry because
Thank you.
I love this great state. I was born here. I'm a Californian just like you are, and I've been here a long time, and my daughter is, and I want to see my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren thrive too, and I don't want it to be just dismantled at one, pandemic at a time.
Right.
Sorry, but
yeah.
So,
on
the issues of, and they kind of go together, welfare and poverty, what's the plan to resolve that? Because I'm looking at stats that 33% of welfare in the country is in California.
That's right. We have 33% of welfare. We are the number one in poverty.
Right. 18% of our states in poverty.
In poverty, yeah. And so that is directly related to the job-killing policies of Newsom, who I don't think cares. I think most people, if you ask them, are you represented by Mr. Newsom? I think most Californians say, no, I don't feel it at all. And this radical Congress that doesn't, I don't think any of them have ever had to write a paycheck.
No, they're career politicians.
And they're
just
career
pulling
politicians.
up this thing because I wanted to read that because that's exactly
and that's the problem is we have a bunch of people that are worrying about, okay, I want to pass a law that lets felons get away with more crime. I want to pass a law that makes it easier for an adult to have sex with a child. I want to pass these laws ridiculous laws. Listen, everybody has an opinion on a lot of stuff, but the priorities of Californians should be the only thing that these politicians are working on.
The DA in San
and that's
Francisco
not what they're doing.
Ran on a platform of, I will not prosecute any crime under 1,000.
Exactly.
I will not prosecute prostitution. I will not prosecute drugs. And they elected him.
I want to give, you just said everybody has an opinion on some things. I just want to give a couple statistics really quickly because I think this is important for people to hear this.
Okay, now get this, Cory. Now this is perfect because here is what, with all of these problems that are the priorities of Californians, here's what this assembly is working on right now as we speak. ABA 101, mandatory ethnic study courses to mandatory critical race theory in high school. AB 1040, mandatory critical race theory in community colleges. AB 338, replace the statue of Father Juniper Serra, who is the pastor and priest that established the missions, one of the core parts of our history.
20 missions around the state. Right?
Yes.
Replace the monument with a California native. AB 1040, gender-neutral sections required for all stores. That's really important.
What is it? What is a general neutral
General
section?
neutral, so LGBTQ.
No, I get the general neutral, but in all stores.
In all stores.
Restrooms.
No.
Sections.
Gender-neutral sections of items for children's items, toys, adult items.
So they have to sell general neutral
items. Yeah, they have to sell. That helps our businesses.
No pink, no blue.
No pink, right. AB 1148, require insurance companies to keep a secret from parents when their children get sensitive services like abortion, hormones therapy, sex changes. That's helpful. AB
so
13.
My 12-year, if I had a 12-year-old daughter, could go in and get a sex change, and I'm not or hormones, and I'm not allowed to know about it.
You're not allowed to know about it. Yeah. AB 1356, increase penalties for photographing or videotaping an abortion worker.
Oh, gosh.
Increase the penalties for that. ACA 2, constitutional amendment to eliminate the death penalty. Now, Californians have voted yes for the death penalty in certain circumstances 5 times, and they just want to say, I don't really care what Californians vote.
Right.
SB 2, police lose their jobs over, quote, bias acts. They lose their jobs, and the definition is a random definition. SB 17, Office of Racial Equality, that basically says that there'll be somebody that will mandate that.
Don't we have that now?
Yeah,
isn't it already implied that we're racially equal?
They're going to mandate that this group ensures that racism stays alive. That you were born white, you were born with privilege, and we're going to ensure that that's SB 57. Illegal drug injection sites. Create sites in LA and San Francisco where people can go and safely use their illegal drugs.
Go back 20 years. I swear I thought you were a nut job
right?
saying
this is what's going on. SB 73, lowering penalties for drug dealers. SB 245, forcing all insurance companies to pay for free abortions. SB 357 legalizes loitering for prostitution. So it legalizes prostitutes trying to get a trick, and they can pitch all they want and
they don't
loiter
get in trouble until it happens.
until it actually happens. This is the list. SB 363, force boy states and girl states to let teens determine their sex. Okay, so we have these issues. We're on fire, and this legislator is so out of touch with Californians. Look, no matter where you stand on some of these issues, are they the priorities
Right.
we should be working on?
That is
That's the point.
exactly the point.
Yeah.
They're not the priorities.
We're on fire.
Yes.
We have these major issues,
Yes.
and they're spending time on their personal pet projects. The legislature is completely out of touch with the citizens. The governor is. I will not be. I will stand for all Californians, and with the power of executive order, I have that power, which Newsom has used 400 times.
Really?
400 times so far in the 3 years. He's set all these precedences, so let them come after me. And this is the cross that I bear. This is the hill I'll die on. I've already had guns pointed at me, so for me, it's about rescuing the state I love and protecting its people. And I feel the people will rise. I believe in Californians.
I believe too.
I believe in that. And that's what will get me the 4-year term. That will, where we can start to get things done. And that's when people will start voting multiple voices. We have multiple faiths. Let's represent those.
You know, I say this all the time, and it hits me all the time. It's like hitting me right now, loud and clear. But it says in the Bible, the word says, "My people will perish for a lack of knowledge." And if there is someone in place that will help implement that knowledge and come alongside them,
Yes.
come alongside the people,
Right.
not just go before them and dictate.
Right.
You want to come alongside and lift them up and be heard. Like that to me speaks volumes, and I can't thank you enough for
Thank you.
all that you're doing, and we support you. I would check out, Bob has another question. I feel like we've taken all of your time, and I'm like, I'm so grateful that you took the time to come,
Thank you.
come here today.
It's just a blessing, Corey. It
No,
really is.
you're a
I'm so
blessing.
blessed.
It's not a question, it's a comment.
Yes.
And my 2-cent advice.
Yes.
From a guy who's never been in politics, but I watch politics all the time. You have an ability to address a question by answering the question.
Yes.
Now, I was an attorney for 21 years, and the worst thing I hate is, what time did you leave the house? Well, I had coffee, and then I got dressed. No, what time did you leave the house?
Yeah.
So what I can't stand, and what I turn off TV, is when you say to a politician, what are you going to do about the homeless? Well, let me tell you about my background.
Yeah.
Done.
Right.
And they do it during the congressional hearings because they're stalling for time.
Right.
So answer this question. Well, let me just thank you for being here, and they're beating time. And you've done it mostly in this interview. When somebody says, how are you going to fix it? You go, I'm going to put out vouchers. I'm going to get right to the meat of it.
Yeah, right.
Because when you're in these debates and you only have 5 minutes, speak what you're going to do.
Well, I
Nobody
really
else does
appreciate
it.
that. Yeah, I'm
That's what he
learning
did.
that. I'm going to be in a debate in 2 days.
Okay.
And you only have 90 seconds, so that's
So what you do,
exercise that.
that always drove me nuts on debates. You've got 90 seconds to answer a question.
A complex
they spend
question.
15 seconds thanking everybody for being here.
Right.
No, thanks. And get right to the answer.
That's good.
And anytime a politician talks about himself, he loses me.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. This is my plan.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's worked before, but get to the answer and give.
Right.
So when you've got 90 seconds to ansser a question, start right off with the answer to the question.
You know,
You
that's
did
a
that
that's a
the
really
whole
good thing,
time.
and I think with back to this thing about welfare and poverty, and I lost track of that one because you got me triggered on this bigger issue of we've got to release businesses.
Yes.
And this is where you have to break a lot of the regulations down. You have to lower taxes. This is always the model. This is the principle, the libertarian principle, which I ascribe to, is get government out of businesses. Of the last 200 laws that they've passed, only 2 help small businesses. You help small businesses. They're the ones that hire the bulk of the population. 99% of our businesses are small businesses. Right. Really revive them. You revive the economy. You lower our poverty.
That's
And
right.
I'll give you
That's the
example,
key.
A bit of advice. Take it for whatever you do.
You're full of it today.
Well, this is a topic I really like because I think about it all day. in politics, and what most politicians don't understand is you can never force people to do what you want them to do.
Exactly.
And I'll give you the perfect example is Philadelphia a couple years ago instituted a sugar tax. Sodas, 3,000 products. Sodas, we're going to tax you 40%. We're going to stop you from drinking soda. We're going to use the money for health care for the people with diabetes and everything else. After they did a study, after a year, they found that the stores like Wawa, which are the convenience store stuff, they suffered a 40% decrease in their sales. They went over the county line.
It's the incompetence and ineptness of these bills. They've never had to sign the front of a check.
And like I said, the only way you're going to stop people from drinking soda is you make something that tastes like soda that doesn't have sugar in it.
Right.
So if you can make laws that make it more incentive for people, more of an incentive to get a job than to sit at home, people are going to get a job.
That's the point.
And children are like water. They're going to take the path of least resistance every time.
Right.
So instead of, and what our government doesn't get is, instead of saying you have to do this, and I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
If they want critical race theory, they want it taught in school, you make it out that people want to learn about it. You don't force them to learn about it. You say, you should learn about it, and you get people interested. Then maybe I want to learn about it.
Right.
So if you can make laws that incentivize people to do what we think they should do, that's how they're going to follow it.
Our state, one of our core values, we've forgotten who we are. We live and let live in California. That's that's why I love this state.
Yeah.
And I get along with everybody. And it's so broken right now. Unity and healing is what our state needs desperately. Yeah. That's why I say it needs a pastor. And when I say that, people go, pastor, I don't know. But I hope people understand what I mean by that. It's a shepherd.
It's a pastoral position where you come alongside the people and you pastor them into greatness. See it. I get it. I've been in Moms in Prayer for 19 years. Yes. And, I also believe that, you have another tool in your arsenal, which is the power of prayer, which,
amen.
And there's a corporate anointing that goes along with that. And, we can go into a whole other show on that one. After you win, maybe we will.
Come on. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We can't thank you enough.
Here's the promise. If we're going to promote this as much as we possibly can, we're going to get the word out there. You have to promise if you win, we get an interview.
Absolutely. Okay. You get an interview, and there's no question with the governor.
When you win, but
when I win. When you win. I think the biggest thing for people to understand about this recall is they don't have to vote for the celebrity. Everybody wants Newsom out, and they're looking at this election like a general election where you do need brand recognition. Whoever becomes the next governor will have all the brand recognition you need.
Especially if you implement your policies and it starts working.
It starts working, right. So, but they're thinking, they don't realize the way the recall works, you get to vote in a citizen. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And all of the people that are running help us get to 50% plus one recall. But only those that say yes vote the next person. So you're not competing against Newsom or what you don't like. All his votes are out and he's out. Right.
Well,
that's what people don't understand.
Two things. One, I just want to point out the fact that you said that it's very important to surround yourself with smarter people. So, Bob, well done.
Yes.
Well done, you.
Yeah, you're a leader too.
Sam Gallucci said it himself. Yes. And secondly, I will be continuing to lift you up in prayer, and I thank you so much. And you have a website, Sam Gallucci. It's Sam, S-A-M, Gallucci, GALLUCCI.com.
Yes.
And you can go on that site and check out all of
check out everything.
You can donate if you want to.
Yes. Get on my email list.
These things are not cheap to continue to go do, and so we do appreciate all of your time and all of your efforts.
Ask them question number one.
Question number one. Am I doing the questions with them really quick?
Just the first one.
Okay, just the first question. Okay, yes, that's actually a good question. 3 words that describe you.
3 words. Leader, servant, compassion.
Great.
Those are great. They bring me to tears.
Thank you.
Can't thank you enough for coming down today, and we look forward to following all that you're going to do for this great state of ours.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
And we're out. The Coriolis Effect is produced by JS Productions, with host Cory Oliver, producer-editor Bob Victor, and assistant editor Cade Bombsell.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver, and thank you for watching the Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below, and have a great day.